prisoners them, sir.
Let me be clear. Are you a vegetarian?
Yes, sir.
And so whether meat is in food, then it's not an issue for you because you can't eat it anyway.
Correct, sir.
Let's talk about the fire drills. You mentioned that during the week or the week prior to the activities in questions, the officers were practicing fire drills?
Yes, sir.
And when the officers were practicing fire drills, are yourselves as inmates involved in the fire drills in any way?
No, sir.
As part of the fire drill, do the officers in some cases evacuate inmates to a safe place?
No, sir.
Don't the officers during fire drills establish a muster point for inmates?
I don't understand what you mean, sir.
Well, a meeting place. There's a fire. Inmates are told this is where you meet, or this is where you move towards so that you could be evacuated from the building.
No, sir.
And you sure that is what the standard operating procedure of the jail is?
What standard operation, sir?
Well, I'm going to suggest to you that during fire drills, inmates are involved as well as officers.
No, sir.
I'm going to suggest to you that during fire drills, officers actually establish muster points for inmates to assemble. And you would know that because you've observed those fire drills.
I observe the fire drill, yes, sir.
And officers would issue command to inmates as well during those fire drills.
Not to my knowing, sir.
Have you seen the fire service as well during the fire drills?
No, sir.
You have not seen the Guyana Fire Service attend the prison during fire drills?
No, sir.
And that is your evidence for the 2 years within which you were resident there?
So for only recently I saw fire drill within my 2 years, sir.
And when there's no instructions at all, your evidence is there's no instructions at all to inmates in respect to how to conduct yourselves if there's a fire at the jail?
Yes, sir. There's no instructions, sir. It's given to inmates. So all you hear is a whistle blow. Normally when you hear a whistle blow is when, like, for instance, like some problem caused in the jail. So when we hear a whistle blow, we would run to the window to see if it's a search or if a problem by any location. And when we run, we would see the prison wardens them running with hose, sir. This is how we would know it's a fire drill, sir.
And how prevalent it is for prisoners or inmates to be lighting fires in their living units?
When you said prevalent, sir,
But how often do you have disturbances at the Camp Street jail in which inmates light their mattresses or any other object afire?
Not often, sir. Only when they want to gain the attention of the public or the media, sir, to share their views, sir.
And in most cases, how are those fires extinguished?
The fire service is common out the fire, sir.
And there's prior to the fire service attending, are there efforts on the part of the officers who you observe performing fire drills to out the fire or extinguish it?
I never see no officer. Normally the fire would be outside, which in the officer could go around the back of the building by using the catwalk, and I never see they do such.
And you would agree with me that not because you didn't see such means that it never occurred.
Within my 2 years, sir, I never see it, sir.
I appreciate that. But you would agree with me as well that not because you haven't seen something means that it hasn't happened.
So like I said, within my 2 years, I never see it.
And again, controlling for the other side, that doesn't mean it hasn't occurred.
I never saw it within 2 years, sir, so I won't be able to see.
Very well. On March 3rd, you were in the living unit when the fire took place.
Yes, sir.
And you said that you were in the living unit between 1 to 2 hours before you were evacuated from the unit.
Yes, sir.
And you said no officers came to our rescue.
Correct, sir.
That was your evidence.
Yes, sir.
And you also mentioned, though, that an officer by the name of Crawford tried to open the door.
Days after, a prisoner come and go back and bring the officer, sir. A prisoner by the name of Steve Backer, sir.
Right. And that officer attended and attempted to open the door?
Yes, sir.
And when the officer tried to open the door, did you see inmates with weapons trying to stab at the officer? Yes or no?
What are you speaking about, sir? In the building or outside the building, sir?
Mr. Crawford, well, you tell us. What door was Mr. Crawford trying to open?
The door on the northern side, sir.
And the door on the northern side, where does that lead to?
Upon the catwalk at the side of the building, upon the northern side of the building, sir, right where my bed is facing, sir.
Right, and can you reach to where the door is?
Was right by my bed?
Yes.
Right, my bed is right there, sir. You asked the question if I could reach there.
Okay, yes, I asked the question and you answer it. That's our
sir.
role here. I ask questions,
Okay, sir.
you answer it. Nothing is obvious to me. And how many inmates were there near to that door while Officer Crawford was trying to open the door?
Exact direct to the front of the door, standing up facing the door?
Yes.
None, sir. Everybody were upon the ground lie down, sir, hollering for help, sir.
And you saw no, well, let me ask you this in a different way. Did you see any of your fellow inmates attempting to assault officers as they tried to rescue you all from that living unit?
About the question, sir.
I'll repeat it. I'm going to suggest to you that throughout the fire situation at the Camp Street Jail, officers were issuing instructions to inmates. Would you agree?
Throughout the fire?
Yes, officers were shouting commands to inmates.
Like?
They were shouting commands to stop lighting fires. That's one of the commands that were shouted to inmates.
From the officers, yeah?
Yes.
No, sir.
The officers were also shouting commands to inmates to desist from causing a disturbance at the prison.
No, sir.
Your evidence is no, they did not, or no, you did not hear those instructions.
The officer did not shout. No such instructions, sir.
I'm going to suggest to you that prior to, well, let me ask you this. Who would you say inserted or introduced tear smoke into your living unit?
I won't know who inserted the tear smoke, sir. I just saw the two can came into the building, sir.
Just
No,
have-
no, no, no. What? No, 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 I will not. Proceed.
When you, did you observe whether there were Guyana Police Force members as well as prison officers at the prison on March 3rd?
Around what time, sir? Same time was the fire, sir?
Yes.
After I came outside, sir.
So prior to that, you didn't see police officers?
No, sir.
Have you ever had an instance prior to March 3rd where prison officers had cause to use tear smoke in the prison?
Before that incident, sir?
Yes.
No, sir, but we were threatened by Mr. Samuels.
Well, we can deal with Mr. Samuels at some other point. I just want to know whether or not you had an instance prior to March 3rd where tear smoke was introduced or used in your living unit.
No, sir.
No. And you say that you heard no commands being issued by the officers prior to the use of tear smoke?
When you say no commands, like someone ordering the officers to throw in tear smoke?
Well, they would tell you to stop the disturbance or they'll tear smoke the unit.
No, I heard no such commands, sir.
You heard no commands. Your evidence is you heard no commands with respect to the officers giving instructions on how to conduct yourself prior to being rescued.
Yes, sir.
Pardon?
I heard no such commands, sir.
Did you hear any commands at all issued by the officers?
No, sir.
Your evidence is you saw a hand throw into tear gas into capital A division.
Yes, sir.
And where did you saw this hands?
From in section capital B, sir.
You saw you were in capital B watching into
A.
capital A.
I was in capital A, watching into capital B.
You're in capital A watching into capital B.
Yes, sir.
And you saw the tear smoke being thrown into where?
Capital A, sir.
And tell us exactly what you saw and how you saw it and when.
So I was stand up, bracing my bed. My bed is on the northern side, the hole to the wall was on the south side. Radio was about 5 feet by 3 feet, where I could see the officer in B, and on the riot gear and their shield over their face, sir.
So you saw an officer with riot gear throwing tear smoke into the unit.
Yes, sir.
And the officer was dressed as a... Tell us describe the officer.
So the officer had on riot gear with a face mask. I couldn't see the officer face, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Was the officer a member of the Guyana Police Force or the Guyana Prison Service?
A prison officer, sir.
Excuse me?
A prison officer, sir.
And describe the officer.
So I won't be able to describe the officer.
I mean, you can describe the officer. How tall was the officer?
The officer was So I won't be able to see describe the height of the officer from where you are standing in capital B, sir.
You said that you saw the officer in riot gear, correct?
Yes, sir.
That means you saw a person or you saw a figure.
I saw a person.
You saw a person.
Yes, sir.
And how tall was that person that you saw?
So like I said, I won't be able to tell that because the hole is not exact direct to the bottom level of the floor, sir. So I won't be able to average his height, sir. So I couldn't see from his boots, sir.
What build did the officer have?
So from the angle, he would look slight thin bone, sir.
He would look like thin.
Thin bone, sir.
Could you see whether the officer had a rank on his shoulder?
No, sir.
What uniform was the officer wearing?
Task force uniform, sir.
And what is that? Please describe it.
Green uniform, sir.
Green, you said?
Yes, sir.
Was there any other officers with that particular officer?
Yes, it was more than one officer, sir.
And how many officers did you observe?
So from the angle where I could only see was like can't tell the amount, sir.
Did you see more than 5 officers?
So I can't tell the amount because it's just a hole and there is a wall. So I won't know exactly how much officers would be in the building, sir.
No, I appreciate that. I'm asking you in terms of your own direct observation, how many officers did you observe? You said there were more than 1. And I'm asking you, how many officers did you observe from your vantage point or from your position where you observed that officer?
But like 2 officers, sir.
And what was the second officer doing that you observed?
So they were standing, sir.
And what was he wearing?
Same task force uniform, sir.
So the green uniform that you described earlier. Yes?
Yes, sir.
And how tall was that officer?
So like I said, I can't tell their height, sir.
What build was that officer?
I can't describe the build because I didn't get in a flash view of the officer, sir.
Can I make a suggestion to you, sir?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to suggest you saw no officer throw tear smoke into that living unit.
I did, sir.
You mentioned that you saw prison officers by some holes spraying extinguishers.
Yes, sir.
And which hole was that?
That was the same over the officer at, sir, in capital B, sir. Right where the tear gas came in from, sir. And right there was also the fire light, sir.
And the officers that were spraying the extinguishers, were they doing so prior to the fire service arriving?
No, sir. There was no fire service didn't arrive yet, sir.
Right, so they were trying to extinguish the fire prior to the arrival of the fire service.
Yes, sir.
you mentioned that there were 3 ex-military men or inmates telling the other inmates how to conduct themselves during the operation?
Yes, sir.
And were the other inmates following the direction of the 3 military men?
One military man was directing, sir.
Excuse me?
One of the out of the 3 military men, sir.
Well, your written statement says 3 ex-military men
Was in the building.
told us. Well, you